Dr. Bob Massey. I work with AR Healthcare, that there is an upsurge of non-communicable diseases. And it's quite unfortunate because we are a developing country, but we are still seeing some of these civilized diseases of civilization. The cancers are here with us. High cholesterol levels, hypertension, diabetes. Some of these diseases have an increased pose an increased risk to some of the cancers. I'll give an example of high cholesterol levels. So if you have high cholesterol levels, you have an upsurge of what we call cortisol, a hormone called cortisol. And this hormone now triggers formation of a hormone that the breast responds to. Yeah, so the cells of the breast grow faster if you have a high level of cholesterol. So you can imagine you have high cholesterol levels and now your breast cells are growing faster. You're definitely going to develop breast cancer, or at least are at an increased risk of developing cancer. I'll also talk about cervical cancer. There is an upsurge, first of all, because we are now more aware, but secondly, because, again, lifestyle has changed. A few studies have been done in Kenya, but most of the studies that we borrow from have been done in the Western world. But we have seen an increase in hypercholesterolemia, what I was talking about initially, high cholesterol levels from highly processed foods. Yeah, so highly processed foods will pose a risk of developing high lipids, and with high lipids, you develop some of these cancers like breast cancer and the like. High cholesterol level is not directly proportional to the amount of oil you use, and it's not also directly proportional to the kind of oil you use. However, solid fasts have been seen to have higher levels of what we call low density lipids, which is what we call bad cholesterol. And we call it bad cholesterol because it goes to your vessels and it blocks your vessels. So you have reduced blood supply to the very important organs. Yeah. So the best oil to use probably should be liquid oil, what we call salad oils. But really, the amount and the type is not directly proportional to some of these hypercholesterolemia. Yeah. So the BMI is a ratio between your height and your weight. And the higher the BMI, the higher your chances of developing some of these non-communicable diseases like hypertension, diabetes, and high lipids in your body. So definitely, the bigger you are, the higher your risk of developing some of these non-communicable diseases. If your BMI, the normal is supposed to be between 19 to 25, yeah? So if your BMI is between 25 and 30, we say that you are overweight. If you're between 31 and above, then we say you're obese. If it is above 40, then we say that you're morbidly obese. So we are seeing more diabetics in the class of obesity and morbidly obese. Yeah, so it cannot be witchcraft that all the people who are diabetic are either overweight, obese, or morbidly obese. Yeah, some cancers are directly proportional to the amount of fat you have in your body. And I'll just use breast cancer as an example. The higher your fat levels, the higher your cortisol levels, which now trigger estrogen production. And the higher your estrogen, the higher your chances of developing breast cancer. However, there are some cancers that are not really affected by how big or how small you are. For example, cancer of the skin, cervical cancer is also not affected by how big you are. Lung cancer, we have not seen any relationship yet, but of course studies are still ongoing to see whether the size of your body puts you at a higher risk of developing some of these cancers.
I have really tried to reduce the portions on my plate, but every time I reduce them, the next time I eat, it's more. Because I get hungry. Every time I reduce, the next time I want to eat, I'm so hungry, I take double the portion I was not supposed to take. Healthy foods are potatoes, sweet potatoes, doma, Irish potatoes, which are all starch. They're all starch. But you tell us bread is not healthy for us because of the wheat and the weight it adds on our bodies. We drop the bread and resolve to the sweet potatoes and the domas and the potatoes. And when we eat them in excess because they're healthy. Yes, even healthy food should not be eaten in excess because you drop the unhealthy food that you are eating in small portion to eat the healthy one in excess. So when you can't buy a loaf of bread which costs 50 shillings, you buy a bunch of sweet potatoes which will cost you maybe 20. So you buy 2 and eat it in excess. The children are not getting enough time to play, and the system of education that we are now getting into, which is the competency-based curriculum, is going to give them so much work that even when they eat, that food is used up in their energy. Our children are provided, just like I told you, food is readily available. So in schools, they provide packets of chips, they provide crisps, they provide sweets. During break, they give them soda, they give them juice. So obese comes in automatically.